Hi, my name is Mitchell Legg, and today I will be telling you about Muslim associations in Canada and how they interact with the wider Canadian community. According to Stats Canada's latest national household survey held in 2011, there are over 1 million Muslims living in Canada. This makes up 3.2% of the total population, and these numbers make Islam the second largest religion within Canada. The Muslim Association of Canada, or MAC, is Canada's largest Muslim association. It has chapters in Ontario, Quebec, and Alberta. The MAC focuses on educating the Muslims of Canada and creating a vibrant Muslim community that interacts with the rest of the Canadian population.
Our mission in the Muslim Association of Canada is to establish an Islamic presence in Canada that is integrated though distinct.
It means dedicating our lives to serve the Muslim community and the Canadian community for the sake of God, for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
The Muslim Association of Canada hosts many activities within the community. These include Family Night, which promotes education and development for both children and adults, youth sports such as soccer and basketball, and the Learn to Lead program, which teaches leadership to high school students. One of the most interesting stories of a Muslim association participating in Canada is that of the Thunder Bay Muslim Association. This association raised money to provide a bursary for Indigenous mothers to attend Lakehead University. The money raised totaled $12,000. Following is a CBC show from Superior Morning to tell you more about the bursary. The person speaking is Waleed Chahal. He and his wife began the bursary.
And I mean, this bursary, I mean, we started one, the Muslim Association started the bursary way back, probably more than 25 years ago, I would say now anyway, and for a Muslim student. So I thought of, initiating another one, another one for a Muslim student and one for non-Muslim, and I thought about an indigenous person, because we know what the situation is with quite few of our students and our, indigenous population. But of course, one need not to generalize about all of them, right? I mean, there are some that are doing very well, economically speaking, and educationally, of course. And I'm discussing this with Tina, and, she said, well, why not an Aboriginal mother, an Indigenous mother who's attending Lakehead U? And I said, this is a wonderful idea. So, and then I talked to, some of my friends within the association, some of the families that we know, and they said, this is really great. So, and then we thought of, each family would raise $1,000, right? And then we run it by the association. So we raised among these families around $9,000. And then within the rest of the Muslim Association, we raised the rest. And as I was saying before, that my aim was 20,000, but because the Muslim Association is a small organization and we have a project almost on a weekly basis. So we settled for the 12 for now. But then, of course, we can add to that, and by the way, I mean, Muslim or non-Muslim alike in the community like that idea, whether individually or collectively. But I just wanted to say one thing, that this is not an individual effort, it's a collective effort.
A collective effort.
It's the Muslim Association's bursary, and they worked on it.
The last example of interaction I wanted to touch on is open houses. This is common throughout Canada, where a Muslim association will open the doors to its mosque in the hopes of engaging the wider community. The association will attempt to use the open house as a teaching experience to increase the knowledge of its faith and culture. Two examples of this are the Islamic Association of Northwest Calgary and the Masjid Toronto. These two mosques open their doors to engage with the wider community. The Islamic Association of Northwest Calgary wanted to teach its community about culture through the use of halal foods and a Q&A panels with members of the mosque. City News from Toronto will provide more on the Masjid Toronto.
I just wanted to come and show my support for people. Everybody's got a right to worship who they want to and how they want to.
I think it's important for us to come and to stand together.
A local mosque opens its doors, inviting the community to come learn about the Islamic faith. I'm here at Masjid Toronto, where there was an anti-Islam protest in the same week we saw the Jewish faith come under attack. Many now concerned religious discrimination is on the rise. Masjid Toronto's open house was about meeting your neighbors and learning about the Muslim community, history, and culture. Now, many residents say they came out to show support and that the Muslim community is misunderstood.
I think people are they're scared by a couple of a few radicals in the Middle East that have created war and that. And it's unfortunate because the majority of Muslims, like I said, just want a better life for their children like everybody.
About a dozen protesters held a rally on Masjid Toronto's doorstep last Friday, calling for a ban on Islam.
My husband's Muslim, and it was a difficult time hearing these things. He prays at this mosque. So I think it's important for myself to be a leader and to show that, we all can be accepting.
Today, police responded to another anti-Muslim protest, this time in the north end of the city. Meantime, last week, Jewish residents of a North York building were appalled to find notes with anti-Semitic messages left on their doors, as well as mezuzahs stolen or vandalized. Many are now concerned that religious discrimination is on the rise, and not just in Toronto, but around the world.
The messages out there in the world are, instructing people to fear each other and to hate each other and to get into this us versus them mentality.
I think right now with what's happened in the U.S., people feel that they can say and do things that are hurtful towards anybody, not just the Muslim community, not just the Jewish community.
The Imam at Masjid Toronto says religious discrimination may very well be on the rise, but that love and support is on the rise as well.
Yeah, there is a rise for Islamophobia in everywhere. But the support for the Muslim community, for religious minorities in general, for all people of all faith communities, also is on rise, and this turned it to be positive.
Now, several visitors who came to the mosque today say this open house was a great way to focus on coming together and supporting each other. At Masjid Toronto, Nicole Martin, City News.
There are many ways which Muslim associations interact with the wider community in Canada, and I have provided just a few examples. Whether it be through the education and leadership of the Muslim people so that they can succeed better within their communities, as the MAC does, or by supporting other minority groups like the Thunder Bay Muslim Association, or even by holding open houses to interact directly with the community, Muslim associations provide Canada and its Muslim population with a strong base for coexistence.